Now the pasta is done, and this is getting there. You got to keep mixing it. I turned the time up a little, the temperature. Wow, temperature up a little bit on it, and it will turn into a nice velvety sauce. Now, one thing you have to do, once you strain your pasta, you have to rinse it off. That gets a lot of the starch off of it, and it helps it stop cooking a little bit. And it's not even close to being done. It's got another 2.5 maybe minutes left of cooking time. But as you can see, the sauce is coming along really well. You don't want to melt it all at once. Don't want to just go, oh, let's go on high. No, that's stupid. Just want to nice and gentle. Now while it's melting, I'm going to add my salt and pepper to it, just to taste. Because Velveeta, as creamy as it is, tends to be a little bit bland, a little teeny bit bland. So, gotta add some salt and gotta add some pepper to it. Now, one thing I didn't tell you is that the pan that I used to boil the water and the casserole that I'm going to put it in the oven in are both hand-me-downs from my mom. I have another pan that I use that's hers. It's I think a 13 by 9 long pan for the oven. It's an ancient non-stick, but it works and it does exactly what I wanted to do in the oven. So this is almost ready. So, funny story, my mom one time, you know how sometimes you get cheese trays for gifts? They have all different kinds of different cheeses on it, like a jalapeno cheddar and Monterey Jack and like a blue cheese here. And so there was one time she made a macaroni and cheese and used those cheeses in it, but didn't mix it too well. So we had times, there were spots in it that were jalapeno in one corner, and you got like blue cheese in another corner, and you got Swiss in another area. So it wasn't really well mixed, but it was quite interesting. Quite an interesting taste to it. So this is almost 100%. But my mom was one of the best people you've ever met. One of the nicest people. She'd sell her soul for you if she had to. So I'm gonna just drop that right in. And what do I want to mix that? Guess a spatula will work. And I just want to mix that up. Now, if this was a little thicker at this point, we could make this just a regular old macaroni and cheese without the stove, without anything, just a regular old macaroni and cheese, stovetop mac and cheese. But this is a little bit thinner because it's going to go in the oven and it's going to bake and it's going to thicken up. The pasta will definitely help it thicken up because it's going to absorb a lot of the liquid from here. So now, what we're going to do is we're going to take our vegetable oil spray, a little bit, spray a little bit on the pan, not much, and we're going to simply and delicately pour this in here. Okay? Ooh, that smells. Oh, God, does that smell good. And turn off the heat for that. Now, some people throw breadcrumbs on top at this point. I don't see a need for it. It gets a nice crust on top already. So, I'm going to take this and throw this in the oven for 20 to 25 minutes. I love salmon. Now there are two different types of salmon that are commonly, two different cuts that are commonly used. As you see right here, we have a salmon steak, which basically they open it up, they get as many of the bones as they can out. There's still some left, so you have to be careful about them. And then they just basically just chop it up. And they have the fillet. Now the fillet is my absolute favorite part of the fish. Favorite cut. I love the fillet. And it's easily cooked in this recipe. What I'm going to do, I'm going to make an herb-encrusted salmon. I'm going to put this to the side for a second, and I'm going to cut up some herbs. I have some fresh herbs to cut up. Yeah. I have some tarragon. Now tarragon has a nice sweetness to it that I absolutely love. And I have some dill. Dill and salmon are a classic combination. It's very common to see it together. Lemon, butter, dill, and you got yourself a really, really great recipe. And we've got some thyme, some fresh thyme. Thyme is easy to get off of the stems. Hold it at the top and just pull right down, just like that. Just gonna get these all together and chop them up. Now this is not all that's going on the fish. Oh no, I've got a lot more that's going on this fish. The main reason I actually put the herbs on it isn't necessarily for flavor. That wasn't the reason why I did it at first. The reason I did it at first was to keep it from burning when I pan fried it. And I noticed that it just came up with such a great flavor too. Now lemon is very common with fish. So I'm gonna, with salmon, so I'm gonna drizzle some on top of there and just work that in a little bit. And I'm gonna drizzle it on the other side a little bit. Work that in. Okay. And I'm gonna oil this side. And I'm going to oil this side. Now the oil acts in two ways. It helps with the cooking process, and it also helps adhere the herbs to our dish, to our fish. So let's take that and sprinkle that on. Spread that a little bit. Let's get as much of this as I can. Okay, wash my hands of that first. Okay, get a little bit of garlic powder, a little bit of oregano, a little bit of parsley, a little bit of basil, a little bit of cilantro. Notice I'm not using the fresh basil and fresh cilantro that I normally would, but with this, it doesn't really make a difference. And a little bit of sage. And we're going to rub that all in. I'm going to press that down, press that in, get a little bit of the oil that's left on here, oil and lemon juice that's left on the plate here. Okay, and there we go. I'm going to put that down there just like that. turn this down a little teeny bit, and we're going to let that go. Now, you put it down, skin side down first, and let that cook for probably about 5 minutes or so, and then you're going to turn it over for 5 minutes. Turn it over again for 5 minutes, and turn it over one more time for 5 minutes. Total of about 20 minutes, and you'll have a great, well done fish. And I'll be back when that's done, and I'm going to, in 12 minutes according to my timer, take this macaroni and cheese out of the oven.